Hi, everyone. I'm Daryl Black, and I'm here to give you some practical wisdom and teaching you how to lead from the inside out and use tactics and leading from the inside out that you can lead in real time with. Now, I'm here to talk to you about this whole belief around leaders are readers and this notion that we need to actually have a lot more information before we can actually do something. And I call that the input output ratio for leadership. Now, if you're like a lot of other people, and I think you are, you read an awful lot. You watch YouTube videos. You maybe subscribe to newsletters, including my own, I hope. Maybe you are a voracious reader of all things on the internet, or maybe you have a degree or you're learning how to lead through a degree or certificate program or something like that. And I totally understand that. I understand that perspective, that need for a whole bunch of input, because we're in a situation where knowledge is power, right? Where the more you know, the less you carry, and the more you know, the better prepared for situations you're going to be. And again, I totally understand that, but the reality is, if you think about it in your own personal life or even professional life, if you were to need somebody that is needing to fix your furnace, for example, or you need your car fixed, would you rather go to a mechanic, go to somebody that maybe has a wide range of information, or they know a lot about taxes, they know about fixing cars, they know about swimming, how to teach people how to swim, they know how to golf really well, maybe they're a golf pro. And while I understand that there are people with that breadth of knowledge, if you want something fixed, something very, very specific, if you want something done, you're going to want to go to a specialist like a mechanic. And not only a mechanic, but ideally a mechanic that specializes in even your kind of vehicle. So my point there is that leadership is a specialty. And in order, like any other specialty, we need to deep dive into it rather than just skip across the surface. But a lot of times we spend so much effort on the input part, where we're gathering all this information and we're reading and getting educated, all of those other things, when at the end of the day, leadership is about influence. So we have all this input and then we have very little output, because we're doing things like analysis paralysis, or we're switching gears, right? Like if you're trying to get to a destination, in this leadership context, influencing others, well, just like any other destination, the most direct and quickest way is the direct way, direct path from A to B. You don't want to be meandering. You don't want to almost get there and then veer off, right? And that's sometimes what happens when we adopt these methodologies, or we read about something inspirational or motivational on Facebook or Instagram. We're like, yeah, I can do that. Well, unfortunately, that's incredibly inefficient, and that is now emphasizing the input part rather than the output. So what I suggest to you is this: focus more on the output and less on the input. Do less, but do it better. Specialize in influence, specialize in leadership. And while it's important to have a good wide range of information and knowledge, what's really important is our one-to-one interaction, our one-to-one communication, how we are making decisions, how we are leading other people, how we are influencing them. That's what's important. It's not about knowledge and articles and inspirational quotes. And while important, that is not what leadership is about. So turn that input-output ratio completely around. Have less input, but way more output, way more influence. And so if you can specialize in certain things like listening, for example, you can spend a lot of time learning how to listen effectively and actively. Well, guess what? That is a very specific input, but from an influence perspective, pretty significant output, right, in terms of influencing. So I'll leave you with a couple of actual tactics, but before I do, if you continue down the path of all this input, few things will happen. One, you'll be an incredibly inconsistent leader. And by that, you're going to be changing approaches. You're going to be changing attitudes and moods. And that isn't what you want to be. You don't want to be an inconsistent leader. That causes anxiety and angst with folks. It'll be incredibly inefficient because, like I said, the best way from A to B is in a direct path. And ultimately, too, you're going to save a lot of time if you spend more time on the specifics rather than the generalities. And so there's a whole bunch of benefits for that. So 2 specific tactics I will leave you with. And again, I'm all about practical wisdom. When we talk about output and all of that ratio, well, try these 2 things. Next meeting you have, whether it be one-on-one or a team meeting or something like that, be present. And by that, I mean specifically, put your phone away, right? Put it away. And secondly, if you're in your office, turn your monitor off. Close your laptop, okay? That's a really good example where the input, very specific, you're being present and you are putting your phone away and you're turning your monitor off. That has a huge output. That has a huge benefit. That is a major influencer because that tells the person you're talking to or the people that you're talking to that they matter. And literally, you are going to pay attention. So those are some very specific things that you can do. So I'd encourage you to put your phone away, turn your monitor off, increase the output, decrease the input, and ultimately, your influence will grow exponentially. Now, another part of leadership is having difficult conversations, and I totally get it. I know for me, I've often avoided them, and one of the hardest parts of difficult conversations is how to start them. So with that in mind, somewhere in the description, there's a free download, and it's my how-to guide to start difficult conversations. So I encourage you, it's free. Go ahead and download that. And if you have any questions or any other comments or any other viewpoint, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.